Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, guys. Do I sound choppy, echoey? My internet's acting weird, guys. Hello, 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 everybody. So sorry about yesterday, but I totally forgot that Atmos was doing his music battle, and I scheduled my live for 6:30, and then I scheduled for 8 o'clock, and then when I went to go live, I noticed Angie also wound up going live too, and Sly Fox was live, and everybody else was live. They were live, and I didn't want to interrupt the shit. You know what I mean? So I tried to wait till figure, maybe Angie when she got off. But by that time, I was already tired and I went to bed. So my apologies, guys. And as far as this morning, I had people coming in at 8 o'clock this morning, which I totally forgot. They were coming to fix the roof and put solar panels on the roof because now we're going solar. And so, yeah, there was a lot of interruptions. So I had to change it. And then I was having issues trying to connect. And then for some reason, I lost all the files I left up. So I had to reload them and put them all back up. So my apologies, guys, for being late now in this moment. Let me say hello to everyone. Major 1984, if you're still in the building, what's up? T baby, how are you, babe? I am Queen Moon. I am here, sis. I'm so sorry. Again, apologies. Sharice, what's up, baby? Aisha, what's up, baby? Granny, just V, what's up, mama? Who else is in the building? Karen J, what's up, lady? Mom Life, what's up, mama? No problema. Okay, baby. Thank you. Peter, what's up, mama? Okay, so Sidbo, what's up, papito? Yeah, so guys, yeah. Well, apparently a lot of shit popped off yesterday for R. Kelly. Well, not a lot of stuff, but there were some sealed documents that went in. Um, also, a letter went in by Thomas and Nicole, which I'll read in a moment, and then also Calvin put in another request for R. Kelly to get the transcripts as well as Canic. So R. Kelly was granted free transcripts from the courts. So he doesn't have to pay for the transcripts. They will be given to him for free. Um, that's about it. That's all. Also, said Thomas. I believe it was Thomas. Thomas, yes. Thomas and Nicole put in a motion. Remember, because they had to put in certain questions for the jury selection, for the jurors questionnaire. So they added some questions, and the questions were one of the questions is number one says, do you have any views about heterosexual, lesbian, gay, and or bisexual people that would affect your ability to be a fair and impartial juror? Second question asks, do you have any views about women who engage in sexual relations with other women that would affect your ability to be fair and impartial juror? Number 3, do you have any views about women who engage in sexual relations with both men and women that would affect your ability to be a fair and impartial juror? Number 4, do you have any views about men who engage in sexual relations with other men that would affect your ability to be fair and impartial juror? Number 5, do you have any views about men who engage in sexual relations with both men and women that would affect your ability to be a fair and impartial juror? 6, do you have any views about men and women who engage in sexual relations with multiple people that would affect your ability to be a fair and impartial juror? So those were the 6 questions that they want to add to the jury selection, to the jury questionnaire, I mean. So they basically asked the same questions 3 different ways. So that's what's going on with that. All right. And the government, Ms. Donnelly, is supposed to respond by the 10th. And if there's anything else that they need to put in, they have until the 9th to put it in. So all week they might go back and forth, more or less, until the 10th, that Donnelly will hand down her gavel and say what's what. And then the trial starts, guys, soon. The 18th. The 18th. The 18th, guys. Dun dun dun. It is doomsday. August 18, 2021. It's going down in the boogie. No, not the boogie. I shouldn't say boogie. In Crooklyn, better known as Brooklyn. Yeah, listen, and he's in the, and R. Kelly's in the MDC in Brooklyn. Like, that's the worst spot you could be in. The one in Brooklyn. I wound up getting some videos and stuff together because I wanted to see where he was. And I did this months ago. And he's really in a bad spot. Like, seriously. Amos, spiritual gangster. What's up, mommy? What's up, papi? So, yeah, he's in a bad place. So, and now they're saying he's got issues with money. It's going to be very hard for him to pay for protection. So he better be on his best behavior. He better not be trying to manipulate nobody up in there. Unless, I mean, we got our LGBTQ up in there too. So, he might just feel comfortable where he at. You feel me? He ain't gonna have no woman unless, one of the CEOs woman decides to take him in a closet. Things of this happen. Things of these natures happen. But guys, I want to what? Okay, I'm gonna go. All right, I'm gonna pull that up. Give me a second. Let me. All right. Oh, here we go. Let me go. Let me find it. Let me see. There are 2. Okay, so Larry's community wall says these are the 2 John Does aka Steam Room Ninjas. Let's open this up. Matter of fact, let me get water. Hold on. But this is a fucking, man, this is a TMZ clip, man. I can't play it. I can't play it, guys. They're gonna give me a strike. I've already done this before with TMZ. I'm not going through it again. But please do go to Grown Little Boys Show's community wall. Please go to his community wall and check out the post he put up 17 hours ago. Go check that out. These are the guys. Let's see. Well, it only shows one guy. I don't know who's the other one, because the other one's hiding his face. Oh, yeah. See, the other one was hiding his face. He didn't want to be seen. That's crazy, y'all. So, guys, go check out his wall, please. Go check out his community wall, please. Well, before we start, I wanted to play a little something for you guys just to bring back your memories.
This message is for Robert Sylvester Kelly, my brother. R. Kelly is the world norm. Message is for Robert Sylvester Kelly, my brother. R. Kelly is the world norm. Nigga, you already know what it is, nigga. You know what time it is, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You should have never mentioned my name in a motherfucking song, nigga. You've been fucking with me for years, blackballing me, stopping me from getting my shine on with labels and everything, nigga. You know what you did, and you know what the fuck I know. You put that bogus ass song out, I admit. That's why I had to clap back at your ass when I confess, because you didn't admit the truth. Nigga, you know what I'm saying? You got me fucked up, man. You not gonna make my mama, our mama, motherfucking legacy in vain, nigga. Her legacy was me, you, Bruce. You're not gonna make her story in vain. You're not gonna make her legacy in vain, man. All the shit that you doing out there in the world, man, is judging you on, nigga. That shit bogus as hell. You know you wasn't raised that way, nigga. You know you weren't raised that way. You should have never mentioned my name in the motherfucking song. I've been cooling out, chilling. I ain't been fucking with you. I've been doing my music. Nigga, you see where the fuck I'm at, nigga. This is what I've been doing. Even though you shut doors and closed doors and blackball me, nigga, I still been doing this shit, nigga, because I believe in me. I believe in me because God gave me a gift that the world is soon gonna know about. You ain't the only nigga that's gifted. Nigga, you know mama got a $500 motherfucking tombstone, nigga. When grandma died, nigga, you didn't even try to go to her funeral, nigga. You didn't even try to aid assist us with burying her. She ain't got no plaque at all. You know what I'm saying? And my big mama, nigga, Fanny Jones, buried in Gary, Indiana, nigga, and she never lived here, nigga. That shit crazy as hell, man, and you already know. Like I say, nigga, you know what I know. You know what I'm saying, nigga? I ain't got no choice. You left me with no choice but to confess, bitch ass, nigga. And I'm gonna clap back at your motherfucking ass, nigga. This the streets, nigga. This the streets talking, nigga. You being judged by God in the streets, nigga. You might got off on court, not guilty, nigga, but you guilty in the motherfucking streets. This message is for R. Kelly fans. I ain't mad at y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all love him, you know what I'm saying, unconditionally. And that's what's up. That's loyalty. And that should be respected. But at the same time, it's two sides to every story. It's two sides to every coin. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here to let y'all know my side. He telling y'all his side because he who he is, and he wants y'all to believe it. Y'all know that admit shit is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And I know. So that's why I had to clap back and put the truth out there, because my mom is no longer here to actually speak the truth. So this is the message to his fans. And I want y'all to know this shit real. This is family shit. You know what I'm saying? And motherfuckers need to really stay the fuck out the business and don't get too involved with this shit, because it's family shit. At the end of the day, that's still my brother.
You heard?
Hey, Rob, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. You know I know the motherfucking truth, man. This ain't no threat. This a motherfucking promise. If you mention my name again, if you mention Bruce's name, if you mention my mama, and you lie about how she's buried and all this stuff here, man, and fucking her legacy up, you know what I'm saying, with that I wish bullshit just to sell records. You know she got a $500 plaque, nigga, you didn't even put on it. If you mention this shit, man, if you try to come back or clap back or anything, man, with what I'm doing or fuck with me, I promise, nigga, you ain't.
A $500 plaque. He didn't even go to his mother's funeral. Figure that out. What happened there? And like he said to all you supporters, stay the fuck out of the family business. Period.
Ain't gonna never get out of jail. Cause nigga, you know what I know. And what I know is the motherfucking truth, nigga. But I've been my brother's keeper. I've been keeping you all these years. And I've been lying to motherfucking media and all that shit there, man. Just trying to keep my brother safe. At the same time while you been fucking over me, I still been having love for you. And you know, I'm telling you right now, this not a motherfucking threat. It's a promise.
Wendy Williams and R. Kelly's half-brother, CAREY Kelly.
Are you from the same mothers? And the same fathers? Different fathers. Your mother was buried with a $500 tombstone?
Yes, ma'am.
Shut up!
Yes, ma'am. These are records that can be pulled up. And like I said,
A $500 tombstone?
Yes, ma'am. And she passed in 93 and she still got the same
$500 tombstone.
For all those listeners out there that doubt me, this, like I say, these are records. Everything that I have to say can be pulled up by records. It's records. If that was your mom, I want you to put yourself in my shoes, and that was your mom, and he made all these millions of dollars off these songs that he's touching people's hearts about his mama gone.
You judge up the tombstone as your money gets judged up.
That's real.
Have you ever seen your Big Brother technique on young girls?
I've seen him, talk to him. I never was present, when he allegedly, touched with him or whatever.
No,
I can't speak on that, but
right.
I've seen him, talk to him. I would see, sometimes he would ask me and a couple of guys out the group to go get this girl number. And I would tell him, man, she don't look of age.
Right.
Or you hate me. So he'll get somebody else. And that's the whole problem, that he's in the situation that he's in right now, because he got yes sirs around.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes sirs.
How old are you?
34.
That's why he had problems with his brother. That's why he fired his brother, because his brother wasn't playing his games no more. His brother wasn't going to be a yes man anymore. He is his brother's keeper.
And how old is Kels?
38.
Wow, man. So you no longer live in Chicago. If you just turn on your radio, we're talking CAREY Kelly, R. Kelly's younger brother, who happens to go by the stage name Killer Kelly.
I don't know, mommy, but he could be. He sure could be a witness. Who knows?
You've now moved from Chicago. You live in Cleveland. From what I understand, out of your truck?
No, I was in Chicago.
Okay.
Staying in abandoned buildings because I didn't have nowhere to go. And I ended up talking to my partner, Lavelle, and I let him know the situation. And he was highly mad at me because I'm the type of person I don't hardly call on people.
Right.
And I just deal with my problems and my situations on my own. And I ended up calling him and I let him know the situation. So he told me to come to Ohio. So we've been in Ohio recording, working on this album called Gag Order. And, it's basically the reason we named the Gag Order is because they tried to gag me and shut me up because they don't want me to put the truth out there. So I'm, that's where I'm at right now in Ohio.
You won't believe what I saw. My big brother doing drugs. And one's molesting kids and blaming me just because. That's what you growl on your forthcoming CD, Gag Order. I'm coming for your blood. You let the media drag our family's name through the mud. Where's your father?
I haven't seen him since I was 5.
What about R. Kelly's father? Because I always hear mother.
Well, she was basically, our mom was our mother and our father.
Okay.
We never seen him either.
Was it just the 2 of your boys raised there?
3 boys. It's me, Bruce, and Robert.
And how old is Bruce?
Bruce is 40, 41, I believe.
Is Bruce in Robert's camp?
In and out. Bruce just basically get in where he can fit in. And I'm the outcast of the family because I respect people and I treat people with respect and I demand mine. I'm not gonna kiss nobody, but you know what I'm saying? So Bruce is where he's at because he's out there and he's on the substance. So
well. So I want to ask you about Robert and whether he's tried to help clean Bruce up. I want to have you do your 16 bars, no cursing. Don't try to curse to get an easy out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we're on the radio, they need to turn off the mic. Don't try to be slick. CAREY Kelly. I'm saying it right. CAREY, right?
Yes, ma'am.
CAREY Kelly. Everybody. Hey, how do you and Robert have different fathers with the same last names? Was Kelly your mom's last name?
Yes.
And neither of your fathers were worth a nickel, so then she just names you all Kelly.
Right.
I understand. Now, tell me about, I heard that when you all's mother was diagnosed with cancer in the hospital, at that point, Robert was getting 12 play money.
That's correct.
Okay, Flawless, hit me up later, mommy. Text me.
That's correct.
But she was in a hospital, for lack of a better description, a ghetto hospital.
Right. A ghetto hospital where, they take all the gang members there when they get shot. It was, they didn't have a good doctor staff there. And they would always refer you to another hospital like that's on the other side of town where when you go there, they take care of you well. But it just cost you more money. It cost you a little bit.
So was it the not wanting to give money for a better hospital, or was it his lack of time because he was so busy being R. Kelly?
It wasn't the lack of time. It was just not wanting to give what my mama was worth because my mama drove a used car. She drove a used car and he rented her apartment. You know what I'm saying, when he was out. So it's like, to me, that's your mom. If it wasn't for that lady, would nobody know us?
Tell me about the video that landed in your possession because he taped over one of your movies allegedly having sex with 12-year-old girls who addressed the camera. Tell about that.
Well, what happened was we had went to the mall and we seen these girls or whatever, and they wanted
all flat and narrow.
Yeah, they wanted an autograph, and so he gave them an autograph and he gave them their number. So later on the night, he told us to leave the place that he had rented. It was a big mansion in Florida.
Okay.
And we leave. Where we gonna go?
A big mansion in Florida. So he wound up taking a bunch of Florida girls.
Oh, we don't know this place. You know, just be gone for 3 hours. We get lost. So me and him kind of got into it over that. But to make a long story short, what happened was the reason why it was 2 tapes because on the way to Florida, we stopped at a truck stop and he bought this movie, Stephen King, Sometime They Come Back Again, a horror flick. So me and my brother Bruce asked him, could we watch it with him? He told us, no, we'll get your own. Selfishness. So me and Bruce put our little $5 together and we bought it.
Yeah,
so now
big brother Bruce.
Right. Now it's 2 tapes. And this is one of the tapes that he taped over. So when me and him got into it about sending us away, you know, because I just speak my mind.
Right.
You know, we got into it about him sending us away. He sent me home. You know, and
but you and Bruce knew at that point that your brother allegedly has a problem with young girls.
Yes.
And you were trying to keep it contained within the family. I would imagine that there were no henchmen that actually knew as much about this problem as you and your brother.
Right.
At that particular point.
I mean, some people kind of figured that, you know, that he, you know, dealt with like little girls.
Right. Wendy's got the heat. Wendy's got the heat. The heat. The heat. The heat. The heat. The heat.
And R. Kelly's half-brother, CAREY Kelly.
You know, I was brought up where, you know, loyalty is everything, you know. And when my kids started getting teased at school, I had a 15-year-old daughter that got stumped by 15 girls. I made police reports the whole 9. She got stumped up under the table because she was just defending her father, saying that wasn't my daddy in the videotape. That's it. And the girl stumped her because a lot of people, their mind is poisoned because when they look at his music...
Well, you should have seen the faxes that we were getting. They're calling you saying, why don't you use your time here to promote your own career as opposed to bash your brother?
Right.
But listen, so tell me what you saw on this tape with these 12-year-old girls. Why do we say that they're 12?
Well, because he asked them...
She's asking questions.
It's like he was interviewing them on these tapes. And, you know, my main thing is, you know, everybody got opinions, you know, and I don't really trip off that. The main thing is I know that, you know what I'm saying, that it's about me putting the truth out there because enough is enough. And my kids, which is not the people that's listening, their kids, if they was in my shoes, they'd be probably saying the same thing that I'm saying. Feel me?
Yeah.
But they're not. So, of course, they're going to have their own opinions.
So the girls are on there being interviewed by him, and they're saying their real names and that they're 12 years old, and then the rest of the shenanigans, you see the sex and all like that.
Right.
What is your sister-in-law saying at this particular point? Are they silently divorced?
I didn't hear you.
Is your sister-in-law, are they silently divorced at this point?
I really truly don't know.
When's the last time you saw your sister-in-law?
Years ago.
Yeah. Did she start out being a young one too?
She started out being a dancer.
Yeah.
You know, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think she was of age.
Yeah.
You know, when she started out being a dancer.
Is your brother illiterate?
To some degree.
Tell me. What does that mean?
I mean, it's like basically, you know, you can't really read.
Pictures on the menu.
You know, you can't really write. You know, can't really comprehend what you're saying in a sentence. You know, but he is a genius in what he do.
Yeah, he is.
You know,
an idiot savant. Right? That's what they call it. Tell me about his marriage to Aaliyah. So he meets her, and she was clearly underage. Why did they get married? Who pushed them to get married, or if anybody did?
Basically, I was shocked like everybody else. I wasn't really around during that era like that because when I looked up, it was on the news and I was watching it just like everybody else and I was blown away too. So I really don't have that much information on that whole situation right there.
Yeah.
Because it was a shock to me too.
You think your brother's going to do jail time, or do you think he's going to get off?
Well, right now, you know, my opinion is this: what's done in the dark shall come to the light. You know, and me, you, anybody, everybody on this earth got to pay for what they done. Even if he don't do jail time, he still got to pay for what he done.
Period. Even if he don't do jail time, he still got to pay for what he did.
So we here at Court TV.
And that was the end of that. He confesses, bro. He confesses. He confesses. All right. Okay, guys. Enough of playing around. Oh, wow. That is funny, guys. You are hilarious. I love y'all. I got one little thing. I want one last thing right now. I want to share with y'all. Hold up. What the fuck is it? Wait. Oh, I gotta find it again. It's right here. It should be here. Oh no. Okay, it should be here. Twitter. Okay, so why is it not? Oh no.
Why didn't you take this? I don't get it. You should have taken the tile for yourself and ditched me.
There we go.
It isn't what we were after. All we wanted was to be able to beat you in a battle, fair and square.
You think you can go around the school peeing on little girls? Clean this truck, man. Clean it. Think it's okay to be in the classroom peeing on little girls? Clean it. You think you can go around the school peeing on little girls? Clean this truck, man. Clean it. Think it's okay to be in the classroom peeing on little girls? Clean it. You're not gonna be like R. Kelly. I don't know what you thought, that you can go around peeing on little girls. Clean it up, man. This is what you're gonna spend your whole summer doing. Clean it good. I want to be able to see my gap. Clean it. You think you can go around the school peeing on little girls? Clean this truck, man. Clean it. Think it's okay to be in the classroom peeing on little girls? Clean it. You're not gonna be like R. Kelly. I don't know what you thought, that you can go around peeing on little girls. Clean it up, man. This is what you're gonna spend your whole summer doing. Clean it good. I want to be able to see my gap. Clean it. You think you can go around in school peeing on little girls? Clean this truck, man. Clean it. Think it's okay to be in the classroom peeing on little girls? Clean it. You're not gonna be like R. Kelly. I don't know what you thought, that you can go around peeing on little girls.
And that's what they should have done to R. Kelly a long time ago. His mama should have put his ass to clean cars instead of letting them pee on little girls. See? See, he should have gotten a lot of powers when he was a kid. He was a spoiled little brat. See? See? Fucked up, right? Fucked up. Okay, let me close this tab as well. Let me get some things closed here. Okay. Okay. Oh, let me look at that. Boom. Okay. Boom. Sorry, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. I'm used to this being over here. That's why. Okay. All right.
What's all this smoke? Where is it coming from?
Sorry, I'm a little slow today, guys. It's one of these days for me. Well, just putting up a content disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in the media or comments on this channel are those of the speakers, which is I, Diva Divine Light, or authors, and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcaster, which is me. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. This channel's owner, which is I, Diva Divine Light, claims no copyright to said content, and the broadcaster of this channel cannot be held accountable for the copyrighted content, so please don't strike me. I, Diva Divine Light, the broadcaster of this channel, is a messenger and a sharer of information and strives to verify, but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this channel. If you have a complaint about something or find your content is being used incorrectly, please contact me, the broadcaster, I, Diva Divine Light. Prior to making a copyright claim, please. Any infringement was not done on purpose and will be rectified to all parties' satisfaction. Thank you. And my email is diva.josh.32332@gmail.com. Thank you. Had to get that out the way because I'm going to play a little video towards the end and I don't want to get in trouble. So let's get back to the proceedings. So back to the thrill again, back to the grill again, right? It's what we here for. It's what we here for. I just had to get all that other stuff out the way. I wanted to refresh people's memories, about what CAREY Kelly said about his brother and what was popping off back in 2008. That was an interview with what's her name? Wendy Williams back in 2008, May of 2008, before his trial began. No, nobody missed the reading. I'm about to start reading now. Oh, and guess what, guys? Oh, man, guys. Uh-oh, what happened to him? Wait. Why? What? Okay, sign in. Oh, here we go. Guys, I wanted to let you know that thanks to you guys, I ordered baby girl, better known as Aaliyah, and it will be delivered to me August 17th, 2021. So we will start reading her book. Well, the book by Kathy Landali. She's the lady who wrote the book, the author of the book. Yes, guys. Yes. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Like I said, I had a little bit of change left over from those donations. And I said, God damn, you know what? I could get this book. Let's get this book. My bills are paid. Everything's good. So I bought the book, guys, and it'll be delivered to me August 17th, y'all. Yes. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much, guys, for your donations. I really appreciate them because you guys have helped me purchase a lot of the other books that I have. We haven't even gone through it. So many books. So while R. Kelly's going on trial and things are happening, I think we're going to go back to reading books. So I'm going to read this transcript. We're going to leave that alone. And then after I'm done with that, we're going to go back to finishing up Jake Brown's book. It's a little shorter, and I can finish that chapter. If you guys have not heard My Body's Call... Wait, what is the name of the book? Let me grab the book. Hold on. Where did I put the book? Here it is. The name of the book is called Your Body's Calling Me, and it's the life and times of Robert R. Kelly. And it's about music, love, sex, and money. And it's a unauthorized biography by Jake Brown. So we didn't get a chance to finish it. And we're basically we were halfway through the book. Last where we left it off was that we were about to talk about Tiffany Hawkins and what happened with him and Tiffany Hawkins. So we will continue to read that book first, and then I'll go back to finishing up Demetrius Smith's book, because his book is really, really long. Because not only does he talk about his experiences with R. Kelly, but he also talks about his personal life and what he went through as well throughout that time. So it wasn't just all about R. Kelly. So it's a long book, you know. And allegedly, he had made a post. Well, I shouldn't say allegedly because he did make a post. He made a post on Facebook. I saw it. I commented as well. And I told him I'm glad that he was making the book, writing another book, and that I will be one of the first people who will purchase it. And that I found his other book to be very interesting. So, and he liked it and he said thank you, you know. So he is on the verge of writing another book, apparently. So when that one comes out, I will be getting that as well, you know. So I just wanted to give you guys that good news as well. Yay! You know, an unauthorized biography, it's more or less just what this person knows, heard, what was in the news. You know, he kind of like put together a puzzle, you know what I mean, with some facts in there, you know what I mean? So it's all alleged because, you know, we haven't seen him be guilty of any of these accusations ever. So, you know, every book that's out there basically is an unauthorized biography. You know what I mean? Like, we really know that these things are really true? They're all one-sided storybooks. The only thing that R. Kelly wrote his own book, Solar Coaster, but he doesn't mention any of his experiences with the women. He just talks about himself and his family life and a whole bunch of bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? So the same thing with the girls. Like, it's a little bit of their family life, a little bit of their experience, and they talk about their experience with R. Kelly. You know, so we're just here to just learn. That's it, right? Whether it's true or false, we're learning the whole story. You know, whether it's true or false, we'll find out when court pops off if he's guilty or not. And then, you know, people can pretty much say what they got to say afterwards. Like, okay, he was guilty. Or, okay, he was not guilty. All right, so all those books are lies. You know, all those stories are lies. You know, everybody that was talking shit was lying. Or everybody that was talking was telling the truth. Either way it goes, we got to go and wait until the court pops off. Right? Yeah. So, okay. Now, let's get back to the grill of things, right? So we left it off over here where the judge was just like, listen, I don't know what you people are talking about, but this all seems like a bunch of hoot-rah bullshit. Can we get with the real drama, please? Hello, everyone that's coming into the building. What's up, what's up, what's up? Hey, Truth Strong. What's up, Team Libra? Who else jumped in? Just V. What's up, Mama, again? Wings. Hello, baby. Okay, okay, okay. I said what's up to Aisha, right? Okay. And if I missed anyone, my bad. I'm sorry. Hello, good afternoon, guys. Yes, please don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you. All right, let's go back to the paperwork. All right, so now we're going to continue in. It says, now we're up to the court, the judge, Auntie Anne. Auntie Anne says, when the relationship was ended, they told her to send their file to Miss Becker. So clearly there were conversations going on, and it's a situation. And it's a situation where when you are representing one person and you want to find out what the witnesses have to say, that's fine. But when they are represented, that possesses an ethical conflict, and not all ethical conflicts require this sort of inquiry. Certainly that counsel be taken off the case. So she's like, this isn't really necessary for counsel to be off the case because of some little miscommunication of who could talk to who. Right? Oh, by the way, my point that I was trying to say, if you guys did not read that book, you can go back into my playlist on my channel, go to the playlist section, and go to Diva's Book Club, and you can read the other parts if you want to catch up. So you could pretty much know where we left off. All right? I forgot to mention that. That was the whole point. Okay, then it says, Auntie says, but in this instance, there is a plausible accusation of violating the code, whether or not that actually happens. That can create its own pressures on a lawyer to refute that violation, to refute that accusation. So I just want to make sure with Miss Hamati, I know this is sort of a related issue to some of the other issues that have come up. Now remember, Miss Hamati, she was the judge-appointed lawyer. You remember when Auntie Anne appointed a probated lawyer for him for the moment? Okay, well, that's who she is. So then it says, no, this is sort of a related issue to some of the other issues that have come up. But do you need any additional time to discuss this particular feature of this with Mr. Kelly? And then Miss Hamate, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm chopping up your name. I apologize. Your Honor, we discussed Haramata. That's what it's Haramata. Your Honor, Miss Haramata says, Your Honor, we discussed similar issues. I would appreciate if I could speak to Mr. Kelly for a moment before answering the court whether I need. Then Auntie Anne says, why don't we do that? So you don't have to do that with us all watching here. What the best way to do that, to take him in the back, okay? Let's do that. We'll be in recess for just a minute. And then Miss Hamati says, thank you, Your Honor. And then the recess is taken. And they come back. And then Auntie Anne says, of all I know, it's cold in here. I should try to make a joke. It's either freezing or you're on fire. So there is not a whole lot we can do about it. In my experience, it is better to be cold than hot. Oh, shit. She trying to make jokes and shit. Auntie's like, listen, I know it's cold in here. Okay, people that are complaining, I understand it is cold. I feel cold too. But you know what's worse is that it's hot. It's worse when it's hot. So praise the Lord that it's cold. Then she says, anyway. I like her attitude. I am sure it will be hot on another day, but that's just the way it is. Let me ask Miss Hamati, have you had enough time to discuss with Mr. Kelly not just the conflicts that were identified or potential conflicts that were identified in the submissions? Um, uh, okay, I'm sorry. Identified or potential conflicts that were identified in the submissions, but I guess I will say a somewhat different but related one that came up today. Ms. Hamata said, "Yes, Your Honor, just with this additional time, we were able to discuss it sufficiently." Okay. Judge Ann says, "I see. And have you discussed all of those issues that were raised in the letter?" And Ms. Hamati said, "We spent time discussing all the 4 other issues that were raised in the government's, I think, the June 14th letter." And then Auntie says, "In your view, does he understand what those conflicts are?" She says, "Yes, Your Honor." Auntie says, "Is he capable of waiving those?" She said, "Yes." And then Ms. Cruz Melendez, which is for the government, said, "Your Honor." Then Miss Auntie Ann said, "Go ahead." And then Miss Cruz said, "Before Your Honor begins the inquiry, as Your Honor pointed out, the government mentioned additional potential conflicts in its submission, and we would ask that to the extent Your Honor has a concern with respect to doing a more detailed inquiry for the purpose of not discussing sealed information, the court would consider so that the record is clear and in abundance of caution. Doing the inquiry with respect to those other issues via sidebar or some other method for the purpose of making sure that as well as the interest of the defendant and the interest of the government to make sure that the record is as clear as possible." Yeah, you see, like, people be doing these sneaky side shit. Like, I mean, sometimes you have to talk with your client no matter what, and not everybody has to know what you're talking about with your client. But she got annoyed. Then Auntie Ann says, "I mean, I can do that, but Mr. Kelly is sitting over at the table, so I'm not quite sure how that would work. You want him walked over here and asked him over there?" And then Miss Cruz says, "If that's possible, Your Honor." Oh, Lord. She's like, "I don't give a fuck. Do what you got to do." Then the court says, Auntie Ann said, "I think that when we first met, I mentioned that there were things in there that I think that the government also agrees are there's not a sufficient basis to conclude that they actually happened. But the concern is that anybody that a lawyer might be concerned about making sure that this didn't get out or something like that. I can't think of the name of the case, but it's akin to a lawyer who," and then Miss Cruz Melendez said, "Fulton." And then the Judge Ann says, "Right, Fulton. The lawyer was accused of something that's not true, but the lawyer may have an interest in defending herself or himself from that accusation. I think we can do that without identifying things that we don't think there's any basis for. So I don't think that's necessary as long as we're making reference to. And you can point me to the paragraphs in the letter, and I can even have Crucio counsel show that to Mr. Kelly because I know they have discussed it and just. And Crucio counsel has also advised that she's gone over all of these things with him. I am just going to, for a belt and suspenders, I'm assuming that as part of that conversation that you advise Mr. Kelly that the question isn't whether certain accusations are true or untrue. One of the possible issues is if there's something, an accusation out there, the concern is that the lawyer's interest will be in defending himself or herself from the accusation, regardless of whether it's true. So, then Miss Hamata's like, yes, we discussed that. Then Anne says, does that sound sufficient? And then Ms. Cruz says, Your Honor, if the government has an opportunity to hear the inquiry and then perhaps have an opportunity to be heard afterwards, we'd appreciate it. Auntie says, you will let me know. So let's get Mr. Kelly I think if counsel can give him the microphone. Okay. Mr. Kelly, just make sure it's on. You are vaccinated? The defendant, Mr. Kelly says. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so R. Kelly definitely got vaccinated. Auntie Anne says, so you can pull it over towards you? The defendant, thank you. Ms. Cruz Melendez says, Your Honor, if I could note one thing that may make this move a little more smoothly as you begin the inquiry. As defense counsel noted, Mr. Kelly has some reading limitations, and so to the extent, Your Honor, references something in the filing, we would just ask that Ms. Haramati have an opportunity to speak quietly to the defendant so that it's perfectly clear. And then Auntie Anne says, so based on what I've reviewed, Mr. Kelly, I have determined that Ms. Becker has potential conflicts of interest in representing you. I have also determined that you can waive those conflicts if you are informed about what they are. And if you consent, you can continue to have her represent you. The potential conflicts arise. One of them is because of the evidence that Ms. Becker had substantial contacts with potential witnesses and may have developed a relationship of trust with them, even though she were never formally retained as their lawyer. So that's the whole issue. Confidentiality, let me read that again. Were never formally retained as their lawyer. She has confidentiality obligations to them. And given the nature and extent of those communications and the contents of them, she would have a conflict if she were to cross-examine either one of them. So that's one of the conflicts. Related to that conflict is also this question of whether there's an ethical violation involved in that. In those contexts, and if there is an ethical violation or an accusation of ethical violation, the concern is, as I said before in speaking with the government, the concern is that a person would be motivated to defend himself or herself from the accusation in a way that might keep the lawyer from asking certain questions or calling certain witnesses. That's what the concern is. Yeah, so the concern was that at cross-examination, being that she knows the girls before they would be retained as her lawyer in a personal level, kind of, that's the conflict. So then she continues to say that the other conflicts, which I don't think there's a factual basis for them, but it's the same question. And I've asked Crucio counsel, Ms. Hamati, to review with you and advise you about all of those concerns. Now, the general issue here is that whenever a lawyer has a conflict of interest, what's in the lawyer's best interest and what's in your best interest as the client may not be the same. And so you have the constitutional right, as I think I advised you before, to be represented by a lawyer who has no conflict. You also, within certain limitations, have a right to choose your own counsel. We also have a situation where you have 2 other lawyers, and so that's also something you can take into account. Right, so she's like, listen, this is your right to have lawyers. You have your lawyers. If you think there's really something so conflictual, so conflicting, that you want to let her go, or you feel that this is something minor and not really so of importance, you can keep her on, you know what I mean, on your team, or you could just keep the counsels that you have, because these counsels, you have 2 lawyers already. Like, she's trying to be like, listen, you don't need any more, just take that into account. You have 2 other lawyers already. So if you lose these lawyers, it's okay. You'll still have 2 other lawyers. So you'll be all right. Then she says, so I am going to ask you a series of questions so that I can be sure that, A, that you understand what the conflicts are and that you are in a position to tell me whether you want to waive them. So are you willing to answer? Are you willing to answer those questions? And then Kelly says, yes, ma'am, Your Honor. Then Auntie says, so do you have any condition or anything that would interfere with your ability to understand what's happening here in court today? Then Kelly says, no, ma'am. Then the court, Auntie Anne says, okay, now you are currently represented by Miss Blank Becker. Is that correct? Then Kelly says, yes, Your Honor. Then Auntie says, and are you satisfied with her services so far in this case? Then Kelly says, yes, I am. Then Auntie says, all right. Do you intend to go forward with Miss Blank Becker as one of your lawyers? Then Kelly says, yes, I do, Your Honor. Then the court says, and she has had, as you are aware, there is certainly evidence that she has had sustained communication with potential witnesses in this case. Are you aware of that? Then Kelly says, yes, ma'am, Your Honor. Then the court says, as I said before, there are risks to being represented by a lawyer who has those conflicts that have been raised in this case. So, to the extent there's an attorney-client relationship, it doesn't have to be formal. To the extent that Ms. Becker gave legal advice of any kind to a potential witness, that means she owes that person a duty of loyalty, and she might be prevented from either investigating leads or introducing evidence or challenging a witness's testimony, and that includes Jane Doe number 5, or calling another witness, Miss Savage. So, if she were to rely on information that she received in privileged communication, do you understand that? Auntie's like, listen, you know that she already spoke to these girls prior to being retained, right? So whatever she said, that could be a conflict, because then she can't use these things against the girls when she cross-examines them on the stand, because she could get in a lot of trouble. Then Kelly says, yes, I do, Your Honor. The court says, now, she also may have gotten some privileged information from either of those two witnesses that might help your case, but she can't disclose it to you because of her ethical duties, and she couldn't share that information with either Mr. Canick or Mr. Farinella for same reasons. Do you understand that? Oh, man. What do you guys think about that? Nicole should not be allowed to cross-examine neither one of these girls at all. Then Kelly says, yes, I understand, Your Honor. Auntie says, she would also be prohibited from cross-examining or doing a direct examination of any witness with whom she had a privileged conversation, including Jane Doe number 5 and Miss Savage. Do you understand that? The defendant, yes, ma'am, Your Honor, I do. So Jocelyn is definitely going to be a witness for the defense. She's going to be a witness for R. Kelly. That's what it sounds like to me. Then the court says, Auntie says, now, as I said before, she has a duty of loyalty to people that she has given legal advice to, regardless of whether there's a formal relationship. So that duty continues even after the relationship ends. So she owes a continuing duty of loyalty to former clients or anybody to whom she gave legal advice. There is a chance that she could make decisions that consciously or unconsciously could be influenced by how those decisions might affect the people to whom she owes a continuing duty of loyalty. Do you understand that? Kelly says, yes, Your Honor. Yeah, he understands about loyalty. He understands a lot about loyalty. He'll make you eat shit out of a cup if you ain't loyal to him. You got to prove that loyalty. Eat that doo-doo, eat that doo-doo. Then Auntie Anne says, and then related to that, although is the question of becoming an unsworn witness. Having gotten information from witnesses. But again, since you have 3 lawyers, if that's a concern, one of the other lawyers can take the witness, can do the examination. Do you understand? The defendant, yes, I do, Your Honor. So yeah, Ms. Nicole is not going to be allowed to cross-examine those 2 girls. All right, so then the court says, so then Auntie Anne says, now in addition to that, there are certain allegations, and I think the best thing to do might be just to refer I'm going to ask Ms. Cruz Melendez. I think it would be ECF number 107. It might contain what the concerns are. Is that right? And then Ms. Cruz Melendez, yeah, the June 14th, 2021 letter, which is, I don't have the ECF number directly in front of me. Okay. The judge says, okay. Ms. Cruz says June 14, 2021. Ann says, and I'm just going to direct Ms. Hamati to that letter, and in particular to the second paragraph of page 2, and just if you can direct Mr. Kelly to what I am talking about. Ms. Hamata, I will do that. Then Auntie says, and relatedly, the information in the paragraph following that. Then Ms. Hamati, I'm sorry, the paragraph following relates to the unsworn witness issue. I believe the second paragraph on page 1. Is that it? Then Ms. Cruz Melendez says, so the second paragraph beginning on page 1, which goes into the top of page 2, as well as the first full paragraph of page 2. Then the court, you've reviewed those specifics? Ms. Hamati says, we have. Ms. Cruz Melendez, Your Honor, just one other thing. With respect to the second full paragraph, which is technically paragraph 3 on page 2, I just wanted to note that in addition to John Doe number 5, there are additional witnesses or potential witnesses named starting at the end of line 3 into the line 4 that would also be included in the with respect to the unsworn witness issues. Okay, Judge Aunt Donnelly said, yeah, we just said that. Ms. Cruz Melendez said, okay. Then Auntie Ann says, I think we did, didn't we? So there's other witnesses there that were involved in that letter. Remember, that letter was sealed. We couldn't see what was in that letter. They sealed that letter. And then Ms. Harmati says, I believe we've covered the unsworn witnesses. Ms. Cruz says, thank you, Judge. Auntie Ann says, that is all right. So specifically, that second paragraph on page 2, Mr. Kelly, have you reviewed the contents of that paragraph? Is Ms. Hamati? The defendant, yes, Your Honor, I have. Judge says, you understand what's contained in them, correct? The defendant, yes, correct. Auntie says, and also in the paragraph on the preceding page, which I actually think we discussed the last time, but I also don't think there is much of a foundation for it. That also contains a separate allegation. And Ms. Hamati reviewed that with you, not just today, but in your prior meetings, correct? Oh, so he knew about other witnesses or whatever they were talking about as well already. This happened in July 15th, right before all those other witnesses came out, right? Then R. Kelly says, yes, correct. And then Auntie Ann says, and again, just the general issue is that an attorney who has committed unethical conduct, and I'm not saying that anybody did, but that the general question is that someone who has done something unethical may want to hide that conduct, and an attorney who is accused of unethical conduct, even if the person didn't do it, may seek to dispel the impression that she did it or he did it. Oh, I wonder what they did. If the person did it, they may want to hide it. And if the person didn't do it, they don't want the accusation to come out. That's basically what I'm saying to you. in either situation, the lawyer could make decisions that aren't in your best interest in order to protect herself or himself from that information. So again, and I think I mentioned this before, a lawyer may choose not to call a witness or to avoid certain kinds of questioning because of the concern that it could affect the lawyer's career. Do you understand? The defendant, yes, ma'am. And then Auntie says, and the other thing is that an attorney who is accused of wrongdoing or of some of the things that are contained in that letter, she said that shit, or of some of the crazy. She said might not be able to give you a completely independent or unbiased assessment of whether you should go to trial, whether you should testify, things like that. Do you understand? The defendant, yes, I do, Your Honor. The court, do you have any questions about any of the things we've talked about so far? The defendant, no, I don't. The court, there may be, and I identified a few issues here. There may be, and I identified a few issues here. There may be additional issues that come up. Nobody can predict every possible conflict or issue that may come up. And if later in this case, there's more information that comes up or the conflicts becomes more serious, I don't know that this will happen, but it's always a possibility that I may have no choice but to disqualify the conflicted lawyer at that time. Do you understand? Then Kelly says, yes, I do, Your Honor. Auntie says, now, I explained earlier that the court appointed a respected member of our bar, Miss Harmati, who is independent of the case, and her role was to advise you of all of these potential conflicts. And I understand that she has met with you and advised you about the concerns that are raised in those submissions. Have you had enough time to consult with her, or do you want to get any additional advice or guidance from her? Don't hesitate to ask if you want it. If you are not under any pressure to make this decision at this moment, if you would like, we can take a recess. You can consult with Miss Harmati once more about these issues. And if you want, I will give you a half hour or so to talk to her to make sure you understand everything about it, because the next phase, just so you're prepared, I really want to make sure that you understand what the conflicts are. So I will be asking you specifically to describe those to me. And then I am going to ask you just to make sure that you understand what all your rights are in connection with this. She ain't playing. So I think it's probably a really good idea to take a half an hour or so, meet with Miss Harmati, and make sure that you don't have any additional questions. That is what we will do. We will recess for a half an hour. Before we do that, I don't know if there's any other questions that either Ms. Harmati or the government wants me to put to Mr. Kelly before he consults with Ms. Hamati. Ms. Cruz says, nothing from the government, Your Honor. Auntie Ann says, anything else, Ms. Hamati? Ms. Hamati says, no, Your Honor. The court, let's recess for that period of time, and then we will resume. Then the recess is taken. Let me take a recess of my own and get something to drink. My mouth is getting dry. So she's, she knows, according to what's going on in those documents. I gotta charge my phone. According to what's going on in those documents, she sees that there's a conflict, but she wants to make sure that R. Kelly's doing it right, because now, like she said, the lawyer is not going to be able to cross-examine these girls. And they could, the lawyer could get in trouble and this, that, and the third. So just make sure that you know what you're doing and that you speak to your lawyer about this. I appointed a specific lawyer to you so you don't, just so she could talk to you about this case, because you cannot talk to Nicole or anybody else about this specific case. That's why she assigned that's why she assigned the special lawyer for him, just for this specific hearing, to represent him, because there was a conflict of interest. So he couldn't have Farinella and all of them represent him. This lawyer had to represent him. The pro bono lawyer had to represent him. The government's lawyer had to represent him at this hearing. Let me get something to drink, guys. In the meantime, while we take a break, I'm going to while we're taking a break, I want you guys to listen and pay attention. This is something that I found, and it relates to what is Stockholm Syndrome. Okay? So while I take a quickie break real quick, we're going to listen to this, okay?
What is it and how does it apply in therapy? We're talking about Stockholm Syndrome. What is it and how does it apply in therapy? This is one of the most fascinating topics I've gotten to research thus far. So thank you to all of you who requested it. And in all honesty, I knew what Stockholm Syndrome was, but I didn't really know the applications or ramifications of it within my clinical therapy practice. And so this was so interesting. Stockholm Syndrome is named after a bank robbery that happened in 1973 in Stockholm, Sweden. There were bank employees that were kept for 6 days. They were first wrapped in dynamite and thrown into the bank vault. And the thing happened, shocked everybody, is that throughout those 6 days, those captive people were, for some reason, became eerily attached to their captors. They felt bad for them. They even turned away police and assistants to get them out of there. They were not helpful at all. And even once released, some of them still kept in touch with their captors and wouldn't testify against them in court. And so everybody thought, what the hell is going on? Why won't they tell us anything? Why are they acting like they were caring and nice and we care about what happens to them? What gives? What they learned is that psychologically, in order to get through terrifying situations, we often attach to our captors as a way to almost survive it, thinking, well, I care about them. I understand what's going on with them. See, they're keeping me alive. They're really nice. And in a way, by being nice to our captors, we're increasing the chances that we will live through it. So oddly enough, it's like our brain's way of helping us get through an abusive or scary and traumatic situation. This applies in a clinical therapy practice more along the lines of people who are in controlling or abusive relationships. For example, we find a lot of battered men or women will refuse to press charges against their spouse or loved one who abused them. Many even bail them out of jail after the police have taken them in because they abuse them. Now let's get to the fascinating part and the reason that Stockholm Syndrome takes hold. There are 4 factors that need to be in place and need to happen, so let's talk about them. The first, and the kind of the obvious one, is that we must feel threatened, either physically or psychologically. And we have to believe that the abuser / captor will actually act out on that threat. The way that we find this happens most commonly is indirectly. Maybe it's breaking things, throwing things around. They may even indirectly talk about harming someone or something that you really care about, like threatening to get rid of a prized possession or to harm an animal that you love and care for. The abuser's goal is actually to get you to just believe that the harm that they could do is possible and it may be imminent. Second condition is where it starts to, you can see how it can psychologically shift for the person being abused, is that the abuser will then show some small kindness. In the instance with Stockholm, in Stockholm, Sweden, in that actual event, the captor said that, well, they fed us and they gave us water and they talked about how hard their life had been as a child. They will do some sort of thing to show you a little kindness, to kind of take care of you a little bit so that you believe they're not all bad. What this does is it gives the abused person hope that the situation could change. This could be a small token like a birthday card or remembering to bring dinner home. It can be any small thing. A lot of abused spouses will say, well, they didn't abuse me when they normally would. So even the absence of abuse with no positive thing added in can feel like a small token of kindness. And I talked about that event in Stockholm, Sweden, how they shared some events about themselves. That's part of it. And that goes into this number 2, is that they'll share some hard times they've been through or times they've been abused by a mother or father or caretaker. And so it gives them kind of, it humanizes them a little bit and makes us feel kind of bad for them. The third condition that needs to take place is being isolated from other perspectives. The way that this can play out in abusive relationships, there are a lot of examples that were given, one of which is, I don't want you hanging out with them anymore. And if we do,
Why would you pause it?
we get abused when we get home. And so in a way, we're slowly being conditioned against seeing our friends. There was an example in a woman who was speaking in one of the forums I was reading where her mother would call just to talk to her and tell her that she was worried about her and the kids. And so because of that, then the husband would find out and would abuse her more for talking with the mother. So she slowly started telling her mom, please stop calling. You're just causing us trouble. You're ruining our relationship. And so since we're so isolated from any positive person in our life or any person who actually has any insight and is loving and supportive, all we can see is that abuse cycle and that abuse life. Another way this is described is walking on eggshells. We will do everything in our control to make sure that we keep the abuse at bay. That may mean seeing things in our whole life in perspective from the abuser's perspective to make sure everything is just the way they like it. Because if it's not, we don't know what's going to happen and we fear that they'll hurt us. The fourth and final condition that must take place is that we actually feel that we are not able to escape. This can be in a lot of fashions, but one of the most common is actually through money. Many abusers will overextend them as a family or as a couple. So if the person who's being abused tries to leave, they actually can't afford anything and they may feel like they'll be out on the street. Another way this can happen is kind of through the emotional abuse avenue, where they will know intimate or embarrassing things about you or even threaten to like shame you publicly. There was a woman who was speaking in one of the forums that I'd read saying that her ex-boyfriend had made her do some sexual acts that she wasn't comfortable with. And then when she threatened to leave, he said that he had videotaped it and he was going to release it on Facebook to all of her family and friends. And so that fear and that embarrassment and shame held her captive for another 2 years. This can also play out in a threat of suicide. A lot of the abusers will say to the abused that they will kill themselves if they leave, or they'll threaten homicide. They'll threaten to kill a child or an animal or a parent or someone else that we love if you leave. And so the person who's being abused feels like they really can't because they don't want anything bad to happen to the person because they actually love and care about them or the other people in their lives. I'm sure if you've learned anything about the abuse cycle, you can kind of see how this plays into it and how it's so eerily similar. And the abuse cycle, I'm looking down my notes to make sure I get the gist in order, is tension building, incident, reconciliation, and calm. And we go round and round. And so you can see how these certain conditions, as they play into it, can be so similar to the abuse cycle. And that's why people get stuck in it. If you know someone who's in an abusive or controlling relationship, the best things that we can do is just listen and try to be supportive. Don't talk bad about the relationship. Don't get them to leave and try to force them to leave, because that can only build on the shame and embarrassment that they may already feel due to that relationship. And just being there to listen and support them is honestly at times what they need, and encouraging them to get some professional support. You can talk about how maybe you're in therapy and it's really helped you manage, some of the things you're going through, and you wondered if it might be helpful to them as well. And doing things kind of passively is honestly the best way to continue to have that relationship so they don't cut you out, and also be there to support them when they are ready and strong enough to make healthy decisions for them and their family. And like I said, there is so much more information on this topic. I find it so fascinating. I'll be doing a whole other video on
So, do you think these girls went through Stockholm Syndrome? Do you think they had Stockholm Syndrome? I think so. Sounds kind of right to me, huh? Right? All right. I see my internet's plugging. A connection is unstable. I hate when that happens, because then I start sounding choppy. Do I sound all right, guys? Or am I sounding choppy? All right, so let's get back to it. All right, so now that we took our recess, we're back into the courtroom now. And Auntie Ann says, all right, let me just ask Mr. Kelly. Have you had enough? Oh, you know what else? I forgot. Oh, guess what, guys? I figured it out, y'all. Hold on. I figured it out. Check it out, guys. Look at the screen, y'all. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? I figured out how to make a watermark. Bam! Bam! Okay, sound good. Awesome. Yes, Sharice, yes. Hey, what's up, Bill? All right, so let's start over. I forgot to tell you guys that, and I forgot to do it when I started. Shit, it's all right. Now, Auntie, we got back from recess, and then Auntie says, all right, let me just ask Mr. Kelly, have you had enough time to consult with Ms. Harmati about the issues that are involved here and about what you want to do? Kelly says, yes, Your Honor, I have. Then Auntie says, and do you think that you are in a position to tell me whether or not you want to waive the conflict of interest? Kelly says, I believe so, Your Honor. Auntie says, so what I would like to start with first, and if you need some time to speak with Miss Hamarti at any time during the course of this inquiry, I will give you as much time as you need. She's being so nice to R. Kelly. She really is. You see? She's going to be a fair judge. Because she knows, you know, his position, apparently, you know, that he's has literary issues. So, sorry guys, I'm eating too. She says, but what I would first like to do is just ask if you can tell me what you understand the potential conflicts to be in general terms and what the risks are that are associated with those potential conflicts. Hold up. So now R. Kelly is about to break it down for her. R. Kelly is about to break it down for her. Okay? Okay, step back from the mic a little bit. Am I still sounding choppy? It's that my internet connection is going in and out. Let me look at it. Okay. Right now my internet's sturdy. It's stable, I mean. All right. So yeah, because you know me, I'm loud and I like to yell and shit like that. I'm deaf anyway. So that's why I yell. Period. But let me push this back. Okay. All right, guys. Do I sound a little bit better? Because I know I'd be sounding like I'm screaming in your ears, right? Because I go back sometimes and I watch the videos, you know, and I'm like, God damn, I'm so loud. I'm always yelling. But I can't help it. You know, it's just, it comes naturally because like I said, I was born deaf, you know. Unfortunately, I was. All right. Enough of that crap. So now the defendant says, okay, thanks, Your Honor. First of all, as far as Jane Doe number 5 and Miss Savage, I understand that as far as Miss Blank Becker, it's hard to pronounce. As far as she's concerned, if there's a conflict of interest, I understand that if I waive, she will be able to question, but she will be very limited as far as questioning them. And then Auntie Anne says she may not be able to question them at all. She's like, it's at all. She's not going to be able to question them at all. So are you okay with this? Like, you know? Then he says, and I understand that as well. Then Auntie says, and so in terms of that portion of it, of the fact that she may be limited in the things that she may ask them, do you also understand that she cannot share any confidences that she learned from them with any other members of your team? Then Kel says, yes, I do, Your Honor. And Auntie says, now, aside from that representation, question. The appearance that perhaps she provided legal advice to them. There's a separate question in connection with that. Her contact with them having to do with potential ethical violations and whether or not they were committed is not the question. The question is when a person is accused of that. When a lawyer is accused of that, it might make the lawyer make choices which are not in your best interest. So, do you understand that? Kelly says, yes. Okay, he don't mind. You know, the more crooked, the better for him. You know? Take R. Kelly, you so bad. You know. Sorry about the food smacking in your ear. Trust me, I stepped away from the mic. I just took another bite, guys. I didn't eat my lunch, so I'm eating my lunch now, and I'm about to start dinner. So we're going to read a few more pages. All right, and then I'm going to call it a wrap, okay? Now, Auntie Ann says, can you explain it back to me? And if you want to consult with Miss Hamati, just let me know. Okay, the defendant says, just give me 1 second. Then she says, sure. Defendant and counsel confirm. So now he's talking to the lawyer. Then he says, sorry. Then Auntie says, that is okay. And then Kelly says, I understand that if Miss Blank Becker talked to any clients that were represented by another attorney, that she could try to cover that up to make herself look good instead of focusing and paying attention on what she should be doing for me, basically, in my trial. I understand that. Okay. The Auntie says, and then there were a couple of other matters that we won't refer to specifically, and just for ease of reference, they're the items that Miss Hamati showed you in that letter. Do you recall what those were? The defendant says, yes, ma'am, I do. Then she says, and in general terms, what is your understanding about the reason why that conflict or potential conflict could pose a difficulty for you? R. Kelly says, that was my husband, not R. Kelly. Then R. Kelly says, he yawned really loud in the back. Sorry if you heard that. The defendant says, well, I think for one, they're rumors, and that's all they are to me. Oh, God. Everything is a rumor to him. Ave Maria. Like I said, he likes his yes men. Then Auntie Ann said, right. But do you understand the risk that even if something isn't true, a person could take steps to make sure the rumor didn't get out? Let's say that. Do you understand that? R. Kelly says, I understand that, Your Honor. Then Auntie says, and that's related to what we just talked about with the ethical concerns. And you gave a pretty good description of what the concern is. Do you understand that this concern is pretty much the same concern? Then he says, yes, ma'am, I do. Then Auntie says, the final related question to the contact with the witnesses. Oh, excuse me, guys. Although this is ameliorated by the presence of other lawyers, ameliorated is the extent to which, having learned things from those witnesses, even putting aside the question of giving legal advice, a lawyer could put herself in the position of being an unsworn witness. So that's the third related concern. Do you understand that one? Let me have Ms. Harmati explain it to you once more, and then I will give it a shot too. She's like, do you really understand what we're trying to tell you? Because if it comes out that this rumor is to be true, do you realize that this lawyer could be in a lot of trouble? And do you know that that could look bad for your case? Like, she's trying to let him know. She's giving him mad hints like, wink, wink, nigga, wink, wink. Hello? Make sure you're making the right decision now. And then Miss Hamati says, just one moment, Your Honor. And then Auntie says, sure. And then defendant and counsel confirm. Then Miss Hamati says, I believe we're ready. Then Auntie says, okay, so what do you understand this potential conflict to mean? And then he says, Your Honor, when the attorney was explaining it to me, it sounds perfect. And I totally get it. I just, what's it for? I just don't know how to repeat everything she just said. Then the judge says, let me do it this way. And by the way, these are not easy concepts for anyone, so I can understand that. But let me just first make sure you do understand what counsel explained to you, correct? And then he says, yes, correct. Then she says, and the risk is, and it's a little bit subtle, but the risk is that if a lawyer has a conversation with a witness and the witness testifies in a different way at trial, the lawyer can certainly question the person about it, but the lawyer can't say that didn't happen. This is what you really said, because the lawyer is not a witness. The lawyer is a lawyer. How did I do, Miss Hamati? And then Ms. Becker says, that's precisely what Mr. Kelly and I discussed. And then Auntie says, so that's the reason the lawyer can't be a witness, because the lawyer is a lawyer. Is that clear to you? And then he says, very clear, Your Honor. Auntie says, okay, so I also want to make sure that you understand, and I think you do, you have the right to object to having Ms. Becker represent you because of these issues. Do you understand? And then Kelly says, yes, ma'am, Your Honor. Then Auntie says, okay, and after speaking with Miss Harmati and hearing what I have explained to you, and based on the advice that you have gotten from Miss Harmati, Do you still want to continue with Ms. Becker as your lawyer? The defendant says, yes, ma'am, Your Honor, I do. And then Auntie says, and do you understand that by choosing to continue with her, you are giving up your right to be represented by a lawyer who does not have a conflict of interest. At least you have two lawyers who don't have a conflict of interest. But at least insofar as she is concerned, you are giving up the right to have a third lawyer that doesn't have a conflict. Do you understand? Wait a minute. What? But at least insofar as she's concerned, you are giving up the right to have a third lawyer that doesn't have a conflict. Okay, right. The third lawyer, that would be her. Okay. The defendant, Kelly, says, that part, I don't. Then Auntie says, you have two lawyers who, as far as I know, are not conflicted. You've got Mr. Canick and Mr. Farinella. There is no allegation that anybody is conflicted. Ms. Becker is not your only lawyer, but I want to be sure that you are giving up the right to have her represent you without a conflict of interest. Do you understand? And then it says prospective juror. Yes, I do, Your Honor. I was supposed to say Mr. Kelly, but she prospective juror. Mr. Kelly says, yes, I do, Your Honor. Then the court, okay, and that means that if you were to be convicted at a trial, you couldn't later claim that your lawyer, Ms. Becker, wasn't an effective lawyer because she had these conflicts or potential conflicts. Do you understand? The defendant says, yes, I do, Your Honor. Then Auntie says, is there anything else that you need to have explained or that you need to consult with Ms. Hamati about? The defendant says, no. Auntie says, any other questions that the government wants me to put to Mr. Kelly? Ms. Cruz says, nothing, Your Honor. Then Auntie says, okay, I think based on the record that we have established that Mr. Kelly is fully competent, capable of making an informed decision, that he has been advised by respected counsel, Ms. Hamati, and that his waiver of these potential conflicts is knowing and intelligent. And so I accept the waiver. And at this point, I think it's fine to excuse Mr. Greenberg and Mr. Leonard, who I think are on the phone. Is that right? Mr. Greenberg says, yes, Your Honor. Mr. Leonard says, yes, Judge. Auntie says, so you are excused from representation in this case. Okay, you're excused. I'm eating a chicken sandwich, guys. Right, all that money that they're spending, you right, Bill? All that money that's being spent on a rally, you guys should just be sending it to R. Kelly. I mean, all this rallying and all this stuff is not going to get him out of jail. Like I said, you guys really love him. You would help him that way. Put money on his books. Show up at court. That's it. That's all. That's it. Now, Judge Auntie says, so you are excused from representation in this case. And Ms. Harmati, you have the thanks and respect of the court for your efforts in this regard. I greatly appreciate it, and I don't think we need to have Ms. Harmati spend any more time with us here, unless she wants to, okay? Ms. Becker says, thank you. And Auntie says, thank you so much. So right then and there is where they terminated Leonard, and they also terminated Greenberg, and they also terminated Miss Hamata, well, however you want to. I'm so sorry, Lord. I apologize about messing up your name, girl. Who was that last right? So Auntie says, thank you so much. I do want to address a couple of additional issues. I received Mr. Canick's letter regarding some sticking points at MDC. And before we began this proceeding, I'm sure the government has something to say about it. But I did speak with Peter Lee, who gave me some answers to those particular questions. But I have a second solution to this problem. So I am just going to list what I have learned from Mr. Lee. And just bearing in mind that these are, I'm sure you are well aware that there are certain restrictions about what can be brought into a facility. But nonetheless, so let's just start in order. The issue of not being able to bring in binders. I am advised that you can bring in red welds, but you cannot just bring in a binder with metal. And you can bring in folders. The issue with regard to pens and the like, you can bring in pens and pencils and sticky notes, but they can't, no highlighters or markers. Now, the issue with the laptops, you are able to bring in multiple laptops, hard drives, and there are computers in the visiting room to which the hard drives can be connected. For security reasons, they ordinarily don't allow chargers, and this apparently has been the policy in the MDC, but hard drives can be brought in. Now, just the last thing, and I'm not quite finished with this because I have another suggestion for you. But there's this question of diabetes. Has Mr. Kelly been diagnosed? Mr. Canick says, yes, Your Honor. Then the court says, is he on medication, insulin? I know he was diagnosed pre-diabetic because of COVID. He can't bring food into the visiting room. But he can come and go to get whatever nourishment. Wait. Yeah, because remember, he was complaining about bringing candy bars and all this shit. So she's like, because of COVID, all right, he can't bring food into the visiting room, but he can come and go to get whatever nourishment he needs. But I also just, it's not something that was brought to my attention in terms of an actual diagnosis. So if there's a medical order and then Mr. Koenig says, Your Honor, we will, just to let you know, Your Honor, when he showed symptoms the other day of experiencing an episode, what was that? He eventually was taken back upstairs. He was experiencing an episode. So what was he, about to faint? Was he feeling dizzy? What episode? Oh God, I think that's bullshit. Then Auntie says, okay. Mr. Koenig said, and that took an hour plus away. I thought they were just running him upstairs and getting a candy bar and come back downstairs, but that's not the case. Suffice it to say, we're trying to do the best we can with what we have, and we will continue. Auntie says, the third option is we can also make arrangements to have him produced here 3 days a week. Now, that has attendant difficulties for Mr. Kelly because that requires him to get up early. There are also restrictions when you, I'm sure you are aware, there are things that you can't do. Mr. Koenig says, right. And then the court says, after this proceeding is over, we will give you the contact information to make that happen if that's what you want. The only thing is you can't do it on Friday. Mr. Koenig said, very well. May I have a second? Then the court said, sure. Pause in proceedings. So he went to, just have a second. Then he said, thank you, Your Honor. And the court says, and that may be something that you don't want to do, which I fully understand, but we will see if we can get if that's something that you want to take advantage of. Mr. Koenig said, I will discuss it with the others. I don't know if there will be face-to-face meetings because if you come here, there's a screen and then there's a mesh. We want to show a computer. I don't think there's any reception in the marshal's pen, and there's a mesh screen where we wouldn't be able to exchange documents. The judge says, there will be no internet in either place. That's a security issue in the facility and also downstairs, at least in terms of a hard drive or a thumb drive. And I'm acting like I know how these things work, but you are able to bring those in. So we can, you can speak with, let me make sure if it's all right if we do this, okay? And then we pause in the proceedings. And then she comes back and says, you can speak with our courtroom deputy about the mechanics of that other method, okay? Okay. So, Mr. Koenig says, okay, thank you. The court says, now I just want to also remind the parties of a couple of things. Our final pretrial conference is August 2nd, which we know now was changed to August 3rd, and it already happened, right? Which hopefully they can release transcripts of that too. Cherise, he shouldn't even have an orange either. Orange is too high in acid. 1, 2, too high in sugar. Or a banana. If we don't know if he's hyperglycemic or hypoglycemic, like I said. if he was having an episode and he was feeling in certain ways, like I said, it could be that he had too much sugar in his system or too little sugar in his system. You know? So we don't know what his issue is. And if he's saying that he's a diabetic and he needs to eat sugar, then he has issues with his sugars going down. So he has to have something to eat. He has to. All right. And then Mr. Canick says, Your Honor, is that date flexible? The court says yes. Mr. Canick said, can we consider August 6th or 5th? The court said that's not a problem. Whichever date you want. Then Mr. Canick says the 6th, around the 11th. Around 11. The 6th, around 11. And then the court said, sure, I don't anticipate it's going to take very long, but August 6th at 11. Now, the government has submitted a list of people and organizations and places that will be included in the questionnaire. So jurors know, jurors will know whether they know any of the organizations or things like that. So the government submitted that list. I guess it might need to be updated. And then Ms. Cruz Melendez says, it's possible, Your Honor. There might be, as we noted in our letter, there might be a few names that we would add to that list. And then Judge Annalie says, I didn't get a separate list from the defense, but I'm assuming, take a look at that list. The deadline has passed, but I assume that was because whomever you were going to call or whoever you're concerned about was on that list. All right. Yeah, could have been his blood pressure and anxiety. He's a fucking drama queen. Anything better than a Snickers. Oh my God, his issue is at this point is continuing to lie. I believe it's over. He was having a panic attack. He's pre-diabetic. A panic attack and a diabetic attack are two different things. I think you better recognize the differences. Oh, man. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to leave it here. All right. I'm going to leave this right here. Let me see how long we've been on. Yeah, 2 hours. Yep. I'm going to leave this right here. We are on page 52. I told our brother Atmos if he wants to read it, he can. I sent him a copy of it. I even sent a copy to Angie. So if any of these two people miss our channel by Angie, if you would like to read from page 52 to 66 and talk about it, go on ahead, sis. Atmos, if you want, you can talk about it as well. I gave both you guys the copies. I'm on page 52 of 66. So if you guys want to go over it, I left it at page 52. So I'm on page 52. All right. Breaking news. Only 10 people at the protest. Wow. You know, I mean, people can't afford to go. Like, you know, COVID, things are still happening. You know, who wants to go to New York and show their face because people in New York are rude? You know, maybe a little crazy. Like, who are these people marching down the street? Ew. Ew. Curse you out. Say shit. Throw shit at you. Like, people be like that. So like I said, guys, I'm going to leave it here. All right. I'll let Atmos know. I'll let Angie know where I left it off at. So they can continue 52 to 66 I'll let them get the rest of that. I'm done with reading this shit. But I'm going to leave you guys to pay attention to this. It's like a podcast show. It's called the Psychology in Seattle podcast. And they started talking, they were talking about R. Kelly. So if you want, we can listen to this and put our comments in the chat. And I'm going to take you guys out with this. Okay.
What do you know about the R. Kelly scandal?
You know what? Not much. I know who R. Kelly is. I like his music a lot, actually. And I certainly knew about the whole pee incident back in the day. And then recently, all of a sudden, I heard that he's going to jail or he's getting all these things, super accused. And then I saw an interview with two girls that live with him, and that's about it.
Well, I thought we'd get into it and see what we come up with. What do you say?
Let's do it.
This is the Psychology in Seattle podcast, and I am your host, Dr. Kirk Honda. I am a therapist and a professor. Sometimes I say that so fast, I wonder if people... Yeah, so I thought I'd enunciate this time. Who are you, Umberto?
So is Psychology in Seattle named like Sleepless in Seattle?
Oh, God.
My name is Umberto Castañeda, and I'm a luthier.
So Robert Sylvester Kelly, born 1967, Chicago. Did you know how...
I wish this was a video podcast. You should have seen. That was hilarious. Kirk went to reach for the mouse, but the mouse had scooted over magically. And so his hand did this little move the mouse movement, but with no mouse in it. It was hilarious. Yeah. It's not so funny if you're not seeing it, I guess.
Yeah. So did you know that he is one of the best-selling musical artists ever in the United States?
I didn't, but I am not surprised.
I am. So if you would have asked me, who was R. Kelly, I'd be like, oh, he had like one song.
I believe I Can Fly alone.
Well, I would have been like, yeah, he was a one-hit wonder. And then if someone's like, well, what about Ignition? I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that song kind of. But like, he has sold over 75 million records worldwide during a time when you actually sold actual records, or CDs, physical products. He's the most successful R&B male artist of the 1990s.
That makes sense.
Not to me. I had no awareness of him. So,
did you follow the whole In the Closet series?
Not until I started this deep dive. So like, I'm so not an R&B fan and not a hip hop fan that I had no awareness of this entire world. And anytime I would have heard R. Kelly, even I Believe I Can Fly, like I can't even sing that song to you. You know what I mean?
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky.
See, that's more. You've already done more than I know. So in the 90s, I didn't have cable TV. I didn't have any friends who listened to R&B.
I see.
Everyone I knew.
That makes sense.
Everyone I knew listened to, the Smashing Pumpkins.
Oasis.
Well, I wasn't an Oasis fan. I guess Radiohead. Of course, we listened to the Beatles, the Smiths, Depeche Mode. We were massive music fans, and
this didn't penetrate the wall for you.
Just a complete bubble, like completely out of my awareness. As a researchist, I was like, oh my God, he was nicknamed the King of R&B. He won several awards. He sang that at the opening ceremony of the 2002 Olympics.
Yeah. Well, so for me, the reason this wouldn't be so surprising is because if you asked me to name the top 10 R&B artists of the 90s and probably early 2000s, I'd be like, well, there's R. Kelly. You know?
Okay, so you were just like slightly off from me.
Yeah.
Because of course, people who grew up in that bubble, they don't know. They know like one Smash Pumpkins. I believe like all three. All these songs I had only ever heard I Believe I Can Fly in Ignition.
Okay.
All these other massive hits I had never heard a single note from. Bump and Grind, Your Body's Calling, Gotham City, If I Could Turn Back the Hands of Time, The World's Greatest, and I'm a Flirt. I mean, have you ever heard any of those songs?
I've heard of half of those.
I hadn't heard of it. And then, of course, Trapped in the Closet. So you have seen it.
All of it. It's so amazing.
Did you see it when it came out?
Yeah, when it was still kind of coming out. Yeah.
I had never heard this thing, watched the entirety of it today.
Yeah.
Was he serious?
No-ish. Yeah, yes-ish. I mean, obviously it's done tongue-in-cheek, like over-the-top soap opera style, but his music is serious. The music's good.
The music isn't good. It's the same song over and over again.
It's very well produced. He sings very nicely.
But the song is, you and I are songwriters.
Sure.
If I wrote a song that was like really quick so I could put a story to it,
yeah, I
would write a song like that. It's very repetitive. It has the same cadence, and it's just like da 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 da.
That crescendo never gets old.
And then the crescendo at the end, you know,
never gets old.
So it seems like he's mostly being serious.
I'm gonna come out of the closet. I mean, it's like it's so intense.
Yeah. So let's review this story here, because I just want people. If you haven't seen it, I watched the whole thing and took notes. I'm only going to talk about like the first bit, like the first third.
It's like 21 parts or something.
Yeah. So he's having sex with a woman in her house.
Right.
He says her husband's coming home, and really just have to watch it because it looks like a parody.
There's so many twists and turns.
Well, so we'll get to it. So her husband's coming home. He gets convinced to hide in the closet. That's where the whole thing comes from.
Yeah.
The husband finds him, and meanwhile, R. Kelly is narrating the entire story.
Right.
He's looking around. He looks in the cabinet. He has a confused face. He smells something. Like that's literally the lyrics. Then the husband finds
he's going
him.
to the closet, and I'm hiding in the closet, and he's walking to the closet. Is he going to open the door to the closet?
Yeah, that's literally the song. He pulls out a gun. There's lots of talk singing. The wife is pleading. You know, the husband, over a span of a couple minutes, eventually introduces his male boyfriend.
Right.
So now the wife switches from pleading and apologizing to now she's angry.
Mm-hmm.
And R. Kelly still has his gun out, and he's very confused about the whole thing. Like, oh, this is totally wacky. I mean, the gestalt I got from it was like, R. Kelly was so guilty himself and so ashamed or something, or trying to convince, because if you just said, like, if you said this whole thing in one sentence, what would it be? Like, what's the story, the plot?
I guess maybe he's not so guilty after all, because everyone's got their own dirty little secrets.
Exactly. Okay. So then everyone is cheating on everyone. Okay. So then the guy comes out and then leaves.
Yeah.
And then a cop pulls him over, and then R. Kelly goes home, and then he's like, I think my wife's cheating on me, but she's not. And then let me just read some of the lyrics here. This is a video. He's singing. They're on the bed. They're having sex. Then I said, this is him saying, then I said, baby, we must slow down before I bust a vessel in my brain. And she said, please, no, don't stop. And I said, I got a cramp. And then she said, please keep going. And I said, my leg is about to crack. Then she cries out, "Oh my goodness, I'm about to climax." And I said, "Cool, climax." Just let go of my leg. She says, "You're the perfect lover." And I said, "I can go no further." Then I flip back the cover. Oh my God, a rubber. So his wife, so he just came.
He came with his wife, and then he finds out that she had been having sex with someone else because there's a rubber there.
Right. So just to recap, he starts a story having sex with a woman. He finds out she's married. The husband comes home. There's a fight, and then the husband says, "I'm actually cheating with this man." He gets pulled over. He goes home. He has sex with his wife. The wife reveals, there's this rubber. I guess a used rubber. So she reveals she's been cheating. She says something odd about someone. They start laughing, which is totally confusing. The cop hears the noise inside the house. He comes inside. There's a confrontation. Turns out the wife is cheating with the cop. The cop leaves. The cop goes home to his wife. The cop is suspicious. There's a fight. The wife has a lover in the closet, and it's a midget. And he uses the word midget. I'm not using the word midget, but he uses, and so it says, it's a midget.
Yo, who's streaming
like and then
the
there's a
rally?
fight.
Because every segment ends in a cliffhanger.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess if that's what you're going to
call
a
twist, I should say.
Yeah,
a twist. Yeah, a twist.
Which is almost universally the next person in this story is cheating on them.
Right.
The midget poops his pants, by the way. And that's actually
who's
kind
streaming
of a
the
plot point
rally,
that carries
guys?
over into different chapters. And so I've just described to you just like the first 25%.
Okay.
Okay. So he also wrote.
But you got to admit, this had never been done in history.
God, and hopefully never will again. I mean, I'm surprised this doesn't have a cult following like The Room does.
Right.
Because it is probably more entertainingly bad than The Room is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I remember me at the time, me and this ex-friend of mine, we watched it all and we would laugh the hell out of it.
I mean, it seems like, because when you compare it to other videos he was making at the time, it's not that far off from other things he was making. Right. So I could totally imagine him thinking this was like a serious project he was working on.
Sure. But yes, but the content was, I mean, the parody for sure, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
The people in the street. Yes, he has. He got 62 charges, 60 charges.
Put that out there. That makes a difference too. White man. He got a bond. But a black man of athletic stature can't get a bond. Tell you he'll play with. He on his side. He on his side. You know what? Before these charges even came about, there was rumors that charges was coming. And he didn't even flee. They invited him to a
Wait a minute. He got charges of mob action. What are you talking about? He ain't never been in a fight. What the fuck? He also has traffic tickets. What are you talking about? I read all his charges the other day on my channel. Hold up. Wait. OMG.
didn't even happen in New York. It's like me robbing this pants right here. And the government don't charge me in New York, but they charge me in North Dakota. And I don't even live in North Dakota. But that's right. It don't make sense.
Right, ABC, NBC, CCD, EBB, ABC, all of these people were supposed to be there.
Somebody needs a fake ID. Nobody. Survivor R. Kelly is not evident. Survivor R. Kelly is a TV star.
They shit sounds horrible. Debo, go back into your rally, Debo. And they had months to prepare. Months.
They don't have a job now. New York now. Right now. Right now. Our county constitutional rights have been violated. On the book, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 14 minutes have all been violated. You know, the name, your heart, that you fight present it to you.
Thank you for the Cash App, guys.
Nobody go to sleep on God.
It's Daddy Lolo's rally.
We see benefit in y'all's face. The premeditated case.
T-Baby, I love you.
They were all of eight. There was no later. I bet you they're about one of them will be talking about it's true. You have to know.
Oh my God, this is horrible. Oh my God. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people there. I see 7 so far. 8 plus the camera person.
They don't care about these as minors that they think happened to these alleged mad minors. We started out saying this in the beginning. That's really true. In my heart of heart. If R. Kelly goes down, they're all going down. Tell me why people can get killed from their case, from this case, and not be charged of allegedly, as they say, taking advantage of children. If something happened to my child, they had a couple people who was involved in it. I just would want one person going down. I want them all going down. The government don't care about these girls. They don't. They said to you in the jury questionnaire, basically they said, I'm out of business. As long as you just take down our Kelly. They're telling you to the hell. As long as you take down our Kelly. It's a mind your business. But the government, that's what the government is trying to tell you that. In the jury questionnaire. I thought it was jury. Yeah, I got it. 65. That way.
It's on Sylvia's channel.
They say for all these things. The government thinks nothing. That's basically what they're saying. They want to believe that this pandemic has passed for the things all these things. It's possible. I don't know what you've been told. We don't read enough. We don't research things enough. We know to take the easy way out. So he's saying it's a research.
She's telling us research.
The government is lying. It's not about these women. It's about his royalty.
It's about his royalty, guys. It's not about these women.
I don't know how to educate myself on the forfeiture law. I'm pretty sure some of us have heard that. The forfeiture law, which means when the government convicts you of any crime,
No, it's some other girl.
that involves that crime.
That girl's sister, something like that. Hold on.
That's right. That's right. No proof. You gotta eat that bird, Mama. Have a nice smoke. You need it, apparently. He's hot, he just smoked crack. The things that they're telling them are things
Are we gonna be back here or are we gonna be on back? Did y'all go over the song? Okay.
If they had any valid evidence, it wouldn't have took 2 years for him to be convicted. But he's still not convicted of anything.
They're manipulating the system for their own gain, and everybody else in the whole world is going to be affected by that precedent if they actually do that. Because that don't work in a whole bunch of other stuff. Legal malpractice, insurance fraud, banking fraud.
I don't know what you've been told. I don't know what you've been told. Neither one of these so-called victims are presently or have been in counseling. Make that make sense. But they gave you a story that they were traumatic. They went through all of this psychological ass bullshit. But where is the documentation that states that they were in counseling? Show that to me. If these were minors, where were the parents? The parents of the minor child and claim that they don't know where the parents their children are at. They never did. They knew all along. But they told the world that they didn't know. We are not dummies. We are very well educated. You can't just tell us anything. You get the opportunity to be paid to be on the road to telling wow. They vote you not guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty. Don't forget, if you hear my voice from the forward, and all the opportunity, let me point to the opportunity. But that was the best of it. It's also wrong. Vote you not guilty. Not guilty. Did anybody check out R. Kelly's concert? These women were at R. Kelly's concert on stage. Were clearly dressed a little to their imagination. So I thought they said he made them wear sweatpants and sweatshirts. I'm confused. How many women are in a relationship and then let them around with anything else? I don't know no man that's gonna let you come out the house looking like a blues. All right, that's last we do it. We need to start using our common sense. I know that's kind of hard for a lot of them, because we all went wrong with it. But we here to help y'all all along. It's okay.
Exactly.
If you hear my point, I take our chosen Robert Kelly trial. Please vote in the back. Not because just want you to speak, but because of the truth. This ain't about no music. This is about injustice and our constitution. If we don't stand up for something, we will continue. We will continue to call for anything. I am not programmed by what I see or hear through the street or see on television. I trust in God. And everybody that's made ahead is this so-called takedown.
They right by the Brooklyn Bridge is where they at. They right by the Brooklyn Bridge, the entrance to the Brooklyn Bridge. I know exactly where the fuck they at.
Thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness. That means go along with a lie that you know is a lie. Stand up for what's right. Stand up for what's right.
Into a Brooklyn nigga. They ran into a Brooklyn nigga.
It could very well be you or your loved one tomorrow. That you know is a lie.
Here he comes, y'all. Here he comes.
What's right? Stand up for what's right. Afternoon, people. It's do your research.
Most of this stuff does not make sense. And at the random time of all these accusers that are Republicans and Senators, you just will put two and two together and realize that these stories have been fabricated. And just like Judge Judy said, if it don't make sense, it's usually not true. But do your research, people. Do your research. Because you're the man. Now, for things that he has not done. Just like you said on social media. That's your opinion of this. You can't take a man like R. Kelly and just because the thing didn't work out in a relationship, anybody can bring charges against the man. And if you get any charges against him, you get any charges from that. You can go with the charge everybody wants to live. I tell you how R. Kelly's parents, hey y'all, like the ones you see here, right there in the middle, right? Ready to bring the truth to you. So do your research so you can think the innocent man. That's all we ask. Use your common sense. Lifetime told you that they told these women were lying, but they put out in here so that we could do it anyway. Who does that? This isn't about if you like R. Kelly or not. It's about if you have that right. And it's here today, but it could be you tomorrow. Where you need people like us sitting here fighting for your to pass that right. You don't come here. Kendra. Injustice does not stop here. And an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere.
Don't forget, guys, please hit that like button. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. And if you are watching the replay, please make sure you leave a comment below. Please make sure you leave a comment below under the video. Guys, like I said, August 17th, I will be receiving Aaliyah's new book. So just remember, I will start reading the book as well. Jake Brown, if you have not heard the book or started the book, go into my playlist on my channel and go in Diva's Book Club, and you can find the video for Jake Brown's book, the unauthorized biography of R. Kelly called Your Body's Calling Me, The Life and Times of Robert R. Kelly. Okay, so if you guys haven't had a chance to catch up on my read, and you get a chance, catch up on it so that you guys can be in sync. And when I come back to continue the book, you guys can, you know what is going on and you know where we left off. All right, so guys, I'm going to end this live. I love you guys dearly. Thank you so much for stopping by. Atmos Love will be going live at about 6 p.m. to continue the Crucio hearing. He will read off the rest of the pages. Thank you so much, Brother Atmos, for doing that for me. Thank you so much. And guys, if you would like to donate to the channel, you already know. My Zelle is 347-664-9253. You can also cash at me at Diva Divine Light. Also, PayPal me at Diva Divine Light. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to continue to watch this retarded rally in the meantime, while I'm in the kitchen. And then I will also be listening in on Atmos. If I get a chance, I'll jump in, say hello, but I'll be in the bushes just because I'm working in the kitchen. So, guys, I love you guys. Don't forget to hit that like button, y'all. Peace.